have some folks trickle in, but I've got quite a bit that we kind of prepared, and hopefully have some time for Q&A at the end. But this is the class on preparing your children for college. And so you may be surprised looking at me, but I don't have college students myself. But Jenelle and I, we've got over 10 years of campus ministry experience, and I have also grown up in the church and gone through our campus ministries here in the Metroplex. And I remember moving away from home and moving into a house up in Denton, going to a UNT. And first couple weeks of school went by. I'm getting adjusted and enjoying the college life. And then again, a couple weeks went by, and I realized I haven't talked to my mom in like 3 or 4 weeks. And so I think she was trying to give me a little bit of space and let me figure out how to be on my own and not smother me. But I remember picking up the phone and calling my mom and tearing up, like, "Mom, why haven't you called me? I miss you." And so I share that with you just to let you know, okay, your kid's getting ready to send them off to college, but they still need you, right? They still need your influence in their lives, and certainly, again, this is a huge transition for your children, but for you as parents as well, getting ready to send them off. College is, I think, one of the most spiritually defining times in the spiritual life of your child, because they are going off on their own and making their faith their own, really for the first time. And so certainly you want them to do some of that in high school, at home. But once you kind of break that connection there, again, it's definitely a spiritually defining time for them. I want to put this stat up here, hopefully not to scare you, but to make you aware. According to Lifeway research, 66% of young adults raised in the church walk away from the faith in college. And so again, hopefully that doesn't scare you or overwhelm you like right off the bat here. But to make us aware, hey, this is what we're up against. And certainly what you're up against as parents, trying to prepare your children to step into an atmosphere that may not be welcoming to their faith. And so preparing them is extremely important, and equipping them with all the other things that come with living on their own and being in school in college, that certainly Jesus should be at the center of all of it during this time in their life. In Proverbs chapter 6, verse 20, it says, "My son, keep your father's command, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. Bind them always on your heart. Fasten them around your neck. When you walk, they will guide you. When you sleep, they will watch over you. And when you awake, they will speak to you." I love this verse, and I think there's so much truth built in there that even after your child leaves home, those teachings that you're providing now will stick with them. But even more than that, your children can tell what you value most. And so even you being here today, this weekend, shows, okay, you value their spiritual development going into college. But again, that they know with how you communicate with them what you value most. Yeah. We're going to break our time into kind of two different parts here. First is focused on campus ministry mechanics. Okay, what do I mean by that? Maybe some of you are wondering, okay, how do I help my child choose what school to go to, what ministry to be a part of? That's some of what we're going to talk about at the beginning here, as well as what to expect in campus ministry. Obviously a little bit different than high school youth and family ministry. And then the second part of our time, I want to talk a little bit about college students' character. What type of character do you need to be building in your student, in your child, to help them prepare for that new stage of life? So first of all, okay, how do I help my child select what school to go to? First of all, you got to sit down and have an honest conversation about what matters most. Picking a college can be overwhelming. It can be daunting in a lot of ways, right? There are many different factors to consider. You've got tuition and expenses often is a big factor in choosing a school. Distance from home, how far away they're going to be. The type of degree or program that your child wants to study. Certainly where their friends are going to school. All these things play a part in choosing a school to go to, and those things matter. They're good to have discussion about. But if we're not careful, the spiritual component can become an afterthought. Right? If we're not careful, you can focus so much on what school they're going to rather than focusing on the spiritual aspect of what it's going to be like going off to college, and in particular being a part of a campus ministry. Janelle's going to share a little bit.
All right, JJ. Come on, Janelle.
So in our regional family of churches, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, there are 25 colleges with disciples on campus. And across the United States, there's over 400 colleges with disciples on campus. So there are many schools that we have to choose from where we know that our children will go there and there will be other disciples there. But the reality is that not all the ministries look the same.
Right.
So Jacob and I have led a ministry of 50 college students, and we've also led a ministry of 3 college students. Wow. So we have been able to see the difference of both of those. So when we moved to Baton Rouge, that was when at LSU we were down to about 2, and then I think we had a couple more. So when we really started, we had about 3 students on campus at LSU. And, one of those ministries is not necessarily better than the other if you have a large ministry or a small ministry, but they are different. In a big ministry, it can be really easy to hide. It can be easy to feel left out for, your student to go there and feel like, whoa, there's so many people. How do I make friends? This is overwhelming to me. In a small ministry, you can't hide. It doesn't feel overwhelming in that way. It might feel overwhelming and like, whoa, I've got a lot to do if I want to grow this ministry. But I really think that understanding your child and how they can thrive really does play a part in that. And, one of the girls we had that moved with us to LSU, she was a part of one of the larger ministries here in Dallas, and then she was like, I'm ready for a change, and she wanted to go to a smaller ministry. So she came to LSU with us. And not that I think she did bad here in Dallas at all, but I think she really thrived when she moved with us to LSU. She was my right-hand person in every Bible study with me, studying the Bible with all these girls, learning how to be a D group leader, helping all the girls that we baptized and learning how to train them. And I'm so grateful for her. Without her, I would have been doing that on my own. So I'm so grateful I had someone who was like, I think I would thrive in a situation like that. So again, I think we're going to have, in the large ministries, you're going to have a lot of Bible talks going on. You're going to have devotionals every Friday night. You're going to have consistent outreach. There's a lot of things that's very structured in those larger ministries. Those smaller churches, they may only have 1 or 2 students. That means the campus ministry may not have this big presence on campus and aren't have these huge events going on, but they're still going to go after it. Their still desire is they want to try to grow their campus. So it just may look different. And again, if your child chooses a smaller school or a private school, they may end up commuting to another university's ministry to be involved. We've seen that a lot. We don't have ministries at like TCU or SMU, but we may have a couple students that go there. But that means they're going to travel to the larger school where the campus ministry is for their events. So that's just something to really consider as you're looking at these ministries. And if you go, we're going to talk about that, but you can see some of the sizes of these ministries when you look on Disciples Today. So you can know how big those ministries are.
I'll get a lot of parents that have asked me before, okay, hey, my child's thinking about this school. Is that a good school, a good campus ministry to send them to? And which is a good question. It's a fair question. I think it depends on your child and where they're at in their spiritual maturity. And so that's up to you as a parent to sit down with them and help them discuss and navigate. All right, where are they at spiritually? Again, I went to UNT many years ago. 2007 is when I moved up to Denton. We had 5 students in my campus ministry when I first started out there, and I felt like it was a great environment for me. It pushed me a lot to grow and mature. At one point, it felt like I was pretty much leading the campus ministry there on my own. We didn't have an intern or a campus minister or anything like that. For me, it was a great opportunity. However, I've seen some students go to small schools with not many, or small campus ministries with not many disciples, and it hasn't been good for them spiritually. And so again, it's up to you as a parent to sit down, discuss that with your child. What's going to be best for them to help build their faith and help them to be successful. Lots of prayer and lots of input are needed to make this decision. Guys, talk to other families that have been where you are now. Get lots of input. I'm sure you guys know Proverbs 15:22, right? Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. Get input. It's funny, we get a lot of input in different areas of our lives, but I think some parents fail to get input in this area. And I think it's a big mistake not getting input from people that you are close to, and again, people that have been where you are now. Second, let's talk about a few practicals for deciding, going and visiting colleges and deciding where you want to go. Again, this is another thing I've seen is some families that go and go on an awesome college visit. Walk around the college or the university and get to see all the great stuff on campus, but they don't meet with disciples there. Guys, if you're going to take your kids to go tour a school, get them connected with the ministry there. Reach out to plan ahead. Call or email the campus ministers there. Let them know you are coming. Give them at least a week notice and say, hey, can you make some time for us while we're in town? Make connections with them. Campus ministers or certainly the students will be thrilled if you offer to buy them lunch so they can sit down and get to know your student, and again, your child needs those connections, especially if they're going out of Dallas somewhere. If possible, stay and go to church on Sunday. You may want to, again, if you're going down to College Station, A&M, you may want to stay, go to their Sunday service, see what it's like, see what the atmosphere of the congregation is like. Meet some of the older members of the congregation that can be mentors to your kids. while they're there. Maybe have your child check out one of the Friday night devotionals they have going on that weekend. Bottom line is, make the most of it. Your child's going to take the urgency or the importance of the spiritual aspect of that visit from you. They're going to take those cues from you. So if you communicate, hey, this dorm is great, and man, they've got the greatest football stadium, that's what they're going to buy into. But if you communicate, hey, you know what, man, this is an awesome fellowship. This is an awesome community that you can get plugged into. That's what they're going to cling on to. Finally, I think I put at the bottom there, disciplestoday.org. If you're going somewhere and need to figure out, well, who do I contact? That's a great resource. You can absolutely talk to Jenelle and I. We know quite a few of the campus ministers, well, especially across the state of Texas, to get you connected with as well. Okay, what to expect in campus ministry? Maybe a verse you know well. Acts chapter 2. Verse 42, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to the fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. Campus ministry allows you to live this out in a totally unique way from any other ministry in the church, I feel like. How many of us were converted in campus ministry? Okay, all right, so we got a good number converted in campus. Again, campus ministry, I love Jamal. Some of you guys know Jamal Myhan. He was in our campus ministry, and while he was there was a spot in the university center where we would hang out, and Jamal started calling it the Temple Courts. Again, because of this verse here. The temple courts. And again, there's something about the lifestyle and culture of campus ministry that is so special and so unique. I want to hit on real quick this typical schedule for campus ministry. And again, this may be common to most of you, but it's a little more fast-paced or a little more involved maybe than you're used to. Again, certainly if you're converted in campus ministry, you remember the busyness of ministry. Most ministries follow a similar schedule, but not all are the same. So depending on where your child is going, may be a little different. But we've got Sunday worship services, midweeks, Bible talks, and Friday night devotionals. That is what's in a typical week for our college students. Of course, again, starting with Sunday worship, maybe the most obvious what we're used to, but campus ministry usually sits in their own little section, which is fun and exciting, a great opportunity to kind of build some camaraderie with one another. But I do want to mention that it's important at those Sunday services, talk and train your children to make connections outside of campus ministry. Don't stay in the campus ministry bubble. It's awesome to have those friendships that you naturally click with, but Sunday morning worship is the best opportunity for them to go and meet older mentors that can pour into them and influence their lives. Obviously, again, we've got midweek services. Some campus ministries meet exclusively on campus. Every week they'll have their own midweek with just the campus ministry. Some do the opposite. They meet with the rest of the church every week, and then some do a mix of both. some midweeks on campus, and some with the rest of the church. And it just kind of depends on each ministry. And then campus Bible talks. Usually the expectation, there may be several Bible talks in a campus ministry, but obviously the expectation is for each student to be involved in at least one Bible talk. And that's the greatest avenue for them to share their faith, bring their friends, their classmates to be a part of a Bible talk there on campus. And then Friday nights is usually when we have fun, some type of event on campus. Again, to invite their friends to kind of provide a holy environment to have some fun when maybe the rest of campus is trying to have fun in an unholy way. And so that's typically a week in campus ministry. And so again, if your child is not used to those, so many different events on campus, it's good just to kind of like, hey, prepare, and especially for those that are moving away from home, when they're used to you keeping their schedule about when they're going, it's good to help prepare them for them to keep their schedule of what's going on. And last but not least, we've got here in Dallas, it's different places, but we've got 3 main retreats or conferences we do each year as well. Every year we've got a fall retreat that is here local, actually up in Denton. We've started doing every spring a spring retreat. That's for all of Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, all of our colleges across our region. And then finally our ICMC every year as well. So I think those can be big expenses sometimes, but they are absolutely worth it. And again, just as much as you're investing in your child's tuition and college, it's a big investment in their spiritual growth as well. Let's talk a little bit about discipling. Most of our ministries are led by young staff couples, and they work, supported by student leaders that they work with to kind of give them training to lead discipling groups or lead Bible talks on campus. Sometimes there's an elder or a shepherding couple that are involved, kind of helping oversee the campus ministry as well. But in a lot of cases, it's really just that campus ministry couple that's trying to meet all of the needs of that group. And again, typically there are student leaders that are leading D groups that typically meet each week as well. And so a great opportunity for your student to be open, be vulnerable about what's going on in their life, to get encouragement, to be held accountable. And so again, those D groups are usually about 3 or 4 students that get together on a weekly basis. And the expectation is again, in those D groups and in those Bible talks, hey, the goal is to build each other up, but then also to be a light to those outside of the students that they're reaching out to on campus. And so again, we've had some students come to our ministry that are a little timid in sharing their faith. And that can kind of be a shock in some ways, or a little surprising, the expectation that, hey, you know what, yeah, go share your faith, reach out to your classmates, invite them out to Bible talk. And so again, that's maybe another thing that you can help prepare your child for college. Lifestyle on campus. Many students going off to college, their first year, they typically want all freshmen to live on campus in the dorms. And so your child may be paired up, put in a room with someone they do not know that does not have the same convictions as they do. That can be an interesting environment to step into. Lots of prayer, right, to prepare them for that. But it's something, again, to be aware of, be mindful of in sending your kid to college. I think whenever possible, I would encourage your children to live with other disciples. If not that first year, if they've got to just kind of be in the dorms, at least the next year, try to find some disciples that they can find an apartment with or find some type of housing arrangement with to set them up for success. Again, getting the encouragement, the accountability, but also just having fun and making memories. I'm sure you guys can as well remember just great relationships that were built in college that you still cling on to till today. Our campus ministries, again, like to have a lot of fun. After midweeks or Fridays, after the Friday night devos, they like to go out and find a local Raising Cane's or Whataburger to go hang out at, and that's awesome. Again, that's where you make the memories, right? But they got to learn to have some boundaries as well. Boundaries on how late they stay out. Boundaries on the credit card, right? What the limit is, and we may talk a little bit more about that as well. Let's talk a little bit about college students' character. Okay, you guys still with me? Yeah. College students' character. Again, we talked about the mechanics, but how do I prepare my child, or what in particular is helpful to help them determine how to thrive in the environments they find themselves in? Again, whether it's with a roommate that is difficult to live with, or again, just any of the trials they may encounter in college. I think, again, college has a way of testing and revealing who they are. And so we're going to take a look at a couple different things. The first is, first I'll read in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15. It says, "Instead, speaking the truth in love, we will grow to become, in every respect, the mature body of Him who is the head, that is Christ. From Him, the whole body, joined and held together by every supporting ligament, grows and builds itself up in love, as each part does its work." Let's talk a little bit about navigating relationships. Sometimes in relationships, you've got to learn to speak the truth in love, right? And the purpose, as again it said there in Ephesians 4, the purpose is to build the body up. And I think the unique characteristic, one of the great strengths of Kingdom Kids coming into our campus ministries is their conviction. Typically, growing up in the church, Kingdom Kids have a great conviction on what is right and what is wrong. They've already got some great moral standards on purity and on integrity. They are usually more sensitive to coarse language, to unholy TV or media, music in general, and they've usually got healthier boundaries with the opposite sex, and so I think this is a gift to our campus ministries, and something that should be celebrated. Now, the reality is they're coming into ministries where not everyone shares those same convictions. As much as you may, certainly we hope they would, or that may be the expectation. They're stepping into campus ministries with kids that have been converted from completely different lifestyles, and may not have that same sensitivity to sin. And so equipping and preparing your child, first and foremost, to be confident in the convictions they have stepping into college. But even more so, preparing them how to lovingly communicate those convictions to those around them. It takes courage to go to, especially a student that is older than you. Maybe even a student that is leading the D group you're in, and say, hey, you know what, your language or this show that you like to watch isn't really that holy and righteous. It takes great courage to have those conversations. And so that's one of the things in your child's character that you can start preparing them now to have the courage to speak the truth in love in those ways. The same is true with the challenges, with maybe some challenges with our campus ministers. Many of our campus ministers, all of our campus ministers are awesome. They should be held up as great examples, and many of them sacrificing jobs they could have in other places to serve your kids. And so I think they should be held up in that manner. However, they're still human, and they're going to make mistakes. They may say or do things that hurt your child's feelings in some way. They may give advice that you don't necessarily agree with. That doesn't mean they're evil. Again, that means they're human. And so, again, as parents, helping equip your child to have maybe some difficult conversations with those in authority over them is very much needed. Again, I think it's one of the greatest gifts that you can give them is preparing them for how to handle conflicts with those that are in authority over them. Encourage them to be respectful, to ask questions, to seek to understand before passing judgment, and again, if necessary, helping them to convey those concerns with respect. But maybe even more importantly, as parents, don't feel like you've got to come to the rescue. The goal is to equip them to have those conversations. And you may hear something that you're like, I can't believe they said that to my child. And you may feel that desire to rush in and have that conversation for your child. Don't do that. Equip them to go and have the conversations. Another challenge or characteristic I think we see a lot with Kingdom kids coming into campus ministry is getting out of their comfort zone. They may be used to coming to church and they've got their buddies that they're close to at church, and then they move somewhere else and come into a campus ministry where they don't know as many people, where maybe your child likes basketball and everybody else in the ministry likes playing video games, and they're like, man, I don't know how to connect with these people. Maybe it's, again, sharing their faith on campus, or walking into, even just walking into a midweek and learning how to be giving and interact with the other students in their ministry, helping push them out of their comfort zone and make those connections. College is a time in their life where they can have the greatest impact evangelistically. Being a light to their classmates, reaching out to students on campus, help them be prepared to not just, again, spend time alone in their room to isolate, but to be out of themselves, get out of their comfort zone, and make those connections.
So the second character trait we wanted to focus on, our second virtue, is self-discipline. Galatians 5:13 says, "You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Rather, serve one another humbly in love." As I'm sure many of you remember, college life is full of freedom.
Yeah.
For the first time, no one is telling them when to go to bed, how to spend their money, what they're going to do with their time.
Yeah.
That freedom is exciting and it's dangerous. It's pretty great, right? So the biggest thing is to help your child prepare by building their self-discipline. So time management, right? We know high school, structured time. College schedules are all over the place. They're going to pick classes. It's going to be, different times of the day. It's tempting to start all your classes at noon. I remember I wanted to do that. I went to culinary school, so it's a little different for me. My choice was either 6:30 a.m., noon, or 5 p.m., and I was there for 5 hours, Monday through Friday. And I remember being 18, I was like, I don't want to go to school at 6:30 in the morning. Nope. So I chose the noon to 5. And I think it was God, because they called me, they're like, hey, sorry, it changed. If you still want to have that same start date, then you're going to have to do the 6:30 in the morning. So at 18 years old, I went to college and I started class at 6:30 in the morning and I was done at 11:30. But I think that it really prepared me for my job, because when I graduated, I worked at Central Market. I had to be at work at 6 a.m. So that was my career until we went in the ministry. And so I do think that, sometimes our kids are like, I don't want to go to class till 11 or whatever. Helping them get their classes over earlier in the morning is going to help them to have a better schedule. Professors don't always remind students about assignments. So, missing deadlines is going to be really easy if they don't plan ahead. So these are things that I'm sure they're not really thinking of. Their teacher might remind them a lot right now. They're not going to get reminders. They're going to get that syllabus on the first week, and they're going to be expected to read that syllabus, to know when those assignments are, to know when the exams are. Those things are like, oh, sorry. And if you missed an assignment, sorry. Like, it's challenging. Like we said earlier, encouraging them to keep a calendar and plan their own week, it's huge. Even with determining their time priorities outside of class and the things that maybe they should say yes to and no to. It's all about balance. They're going to have, all these other events that we talked about that are going to be structured in their week. The thing that won't be structured is Bible studies and maybe hangout times with other disciples. Those Bible studies are going to be crucial for them to be involved in with the non-Christians that they're reaching out to. And it's encouraging. You should encourage them to plan around those times, make those times available in their schedule, but also to figure out their limits, right? Maybe your freshmen should not be in like 5 Bible studies a week. That may be too much for them right now. It's a lot to learn how to have a 16-hour school week and be in all those Bible studies and do all these things, right? But they should be in 1 or 2, and they should have these other times in their schedule. And so, but they also need to make sure they're getting their work done, right? There's all these things that is a balance. And you can really help them by setting them up for success, so that when they go and their campus minister's like, hey, you free for this study? They're like, yes. But when they're like, no, I'm not free for that one, right? That's not gonna, I've had kids be like, oh, I'll skip class for a Bible study. I'm like, no, your parent, no, please do not skip class for a Bible study. No, please don't do that. I'm gonna get in trouble. Like, don't do that, please. Basic responsibilities, laundry, dishes, cleaning, those things take discipline too, right? And then finances. We talked about that a little bit. Eating out every day can really, wreck a budget. So helping them say yes to some things and no to some things. And then lastly, resilience. Do you still want to hit all this? I know we're getting close on time.
Yeah, we're getting close.
We are. You just want to do
Rush
the
through
other
it.
side? Okay.
Rush through it. It's good
Rush
stuff.
through it.
I know.
I'm gonna hand out. I forgot to hand these out earlier. These are it's just a little copy of our notes, a little overview. We probably had too much, so we're kind of coming to the end. The verse we had there in Galatians. Brothers and sisters, you were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Again, I think that's good for students. All that freedom can be difficult to navigate. I want to close with a story. When my parents first dropped me off at UNT, I remember they helped me get all moved in, and we went out to lunch before they got in the car and headed home, leaving me alone for the first time. And I'll never forget. I'll never forget my dad, as they were getting ready to go, I'll never forget my dad looking at me in the eye and telling me, Jacob, I want you to know, no matter what happens, you can always come back home. And I share that because college can be an extremely insecure time where they're trying to figure out life. And man, it makes me teary just thinking about it. But that simple statement gave me the confidence I needed. And so guys, hopefully this is helpful for you. Please, if you got any questions, come talk to us. Amen.